In today's tutorial, we're going to learn all of the techniques necessary to create the textures for this particular logo. It's going to be a rebranding for our own channel so that we can come back after about a 7 to 8 month break. We'll be using SVGs, so you can apply these techniques to get the same textures for any of your logos as well. And without spending any more time, let's go ahead and start recording the actual tutorial. So in our default scene, we're finally using Blender version 4.3. I completely skipped out Blender 4.2, and Eevee Next still has quite a few kinks that I feel has to be ironed out before I can use it too well. But until then, we're just gonna have to make do with the new Eevee Next settings. First off, I'm gonna press delete to delete the default cube, and then I'm gonna go to File, Import, and I'm gonna choose Scalable Vector Graphic. From here, I'll choose my SVG from my computer. So once you import the SVG, it's generally going to be present fairly small right over there. I can just select everything and scale it up by something like 10 by tapping S followed by 10. Now I'll just rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees so that it's actually facing upwards. Now, although this is my new logo, I don't require the actual text. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and I'll just select all of this and move this towards the center. And in order to do that, I'm just going to press Object, Set Origin to Geometry, and then G and place it right about there. So now that we have the logo present at the center, I can go ahead and select my camera from here, press Alt G to clear location, Alt R to clear rotation, and then press RX 90 to rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees. Then I'll press GY to just bring it back, and then I can go ahead and press this camera button to go into my camera view. Now, the first thing that I want to do is actually deal with the concrete or stone kind of texture for the actual dragon head and the dragon body. So let's go ahead and select the dragon head and shift my view to rendered view so that I can actually see the changes that I'm making. Similarly, I'm going to take the light, press Alt G to clear its location, GY to just move it back by a little bit, and then GZ to just bring it down over there. Now let's select this and bring my cursor to the junction of these two windows, click and drag to create a new window, and then switch this from the 3D viewport to the shader editor. Now I'll press N to just remove that side panel, and I'll press Use Nodes. So now this is gonna act as my base rock material, so I'll just call this rock. Now the rock is essentially going to just be made out of a bump texture. So I'm going to press Shift A and search for bump. And now I'm going to plug this into the normal. This bump is going to be made up of two types of textures. One's going to be a noise and the other one is going to be a Voronoi texture. So I'm just going to search for the noise texture and plug this into the height of the bump. Now we don't see any change, but if we just start increasing the scale by quite a bit, you can start actually noticing the change. So let's just keep scaling this up until we get a really nice texture. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep this at something really high. Let's go with 750. And that should do. I think that my light source is a little too harsh, so I'm just going to move my light down even more, and that looks a lot better. Now that I have this noise texture, I want to add in some cracks within this noise as well. But before I do that, I'm just going to increase the detail all the way to 15 and increase the roughness to something like 0.7 so that it looks a lot more like stone. Now, to add in another set of bump to this, I'm actually going to duplicate this bump node, plug it in right here with the normal plugged into the normal. Now I can use this height socket to incorporate another texture. So let's go ahead and press Shift A and search for a Voronoi texture. And this time, since I want it to be like cracks, I'm going to actually change this from F1 to distance to edge. Now I'm going to take this distance and plug it into the height, but just like last time, we probably won't see much of a difference. And that's because the scale is way too small. So we can just go ahead and increase the scale and we can start seeing the actual texture come in. Now I think a scale of 250 seems to be good, but this isn't exactly what we want. We want just the edges to be indented. In order to do that, we're going to add in a color ramp so that we can actually crunch in the actual values. So let's go ahead and just pull that in until we get just the cracks. Now this also seems like it's coming out. So to make it feel like it's going in, we're just going to check this invert button. And now it seems like it's actual cracks. So that seems absolutely great. However, I don't want it to just be cracks. I want there to be some actual light coming in from the cracks, something like a lava. So we're going to do that with some emission. So the way we can get the emission for just this is by using this exact same Voronoi texture as an input to the color. So let's press Shift A and search for another color ramp. And now we're going to take this distance, plug that into the factor, and take this into the color input of the emission of the principled BSDF. Let's increase the strength to something like 5 so that we can actually see it, and then just like last time, let's bring this in and just flip the color ramp so that only the cracks are actually visible. Similarly, we don't actually want the cracks to be white of all colors. So we're going to go ahead and select the stop. If it's hard for you to select the stop, just use this to navigate between the two stops. Go ahead and change this from black to whatever color you want. If we're making a red dragon, you can go ahead and make it red. And although my logo is blue, maybe for the tutorial, I'll just go ahead and make it with red. Let's see how that looks. So I think that's fine. Let's increase the strength to something like 10 as well. And I don't want every single portion of the crack to be lit. I want this to also have some sort of a texture. So I'm actually going to multiply this with another noise texture. So let's press Shift A, search for a noise texture, and let's press Shift A and search for a mix color node. And the mix color type has to be changed from mix to multiply. So now any area that's black is not going to be lit. So to get that, we're going to just duplicate this color ramp, and then you can go ahead and just reset this by pressing this down arrow and choosing reset color ramp. Now let's plug the color into the factor, and this factor can go into socket B. Just like before, the noise texture is probably too small. So let's go ahead and increase the scale up to something really high. Let's go with maybe 350 and just bring this black in quite a bit and increase this factor all the way to 1. So now as we just crunch these in, you can see how certain areas are no longer being as emissive as they were. I would like to change this from linear to ease, and maybe I'll reduce the scale down to 200 instead of 350. So yeah, I think that looks good. Maybe a little bit more of the black regions are enough, or maybe required. Let's go with 300 and that should be good. So now that we have that created, I think I can go ahead and play around with the material of just these scales that I had created. So all of these are going to be one specific material. What I'm going to do is I'll go to the materials. I'll just get rid of the rock material, press new, and this I'm going to call scales. And then I'm just going to go ahead and press Ctrl L and click link materials. That way all of them get the scales material. Now for the scale material, I'm just going to change this principal BSDF to an emission, and I'm going to go ahead and make these emissive. Let's go ahead with the red and increase the scale to something like 10. So now that I switch off overlays, that looks good, but I want some type of glow to actually be present, and I want this to also affect the rest of the items around it. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the render properties and I'm just going to switch on ray tracing. Similarly, I'm going to go ahead and enable the compositor in the camera view, or maybe always will work in this situation. And I'll switch over to the compositor over here. Now I'm going to click use nodes. And if you can't find your nodes, just press period on your numpad to centralize the nodes. In case you do not have a numpad, you'll have to click view and then choose frame selected or frame all. Irrespective, it'll bring you to where all your nodes are. Now let's just add in some bloom by pressing Shift A and searching for a glare node and plugging that in between the render layers and the composite layer. Now I'm going to change this from streaks to bloom, and I'm just going to decrease the mix so that there's just a very, very subtle glow. So let's keep that at maybe minus 0.9. So that looks great, except I now have to give a different material to all of these regions, because these in my head were supposed to be some type of a glass texture. So let's go ahead and select them, go back to the materials, remove the rock material, add in a new material. Let's call this textured glass. And we'll go ahead and press Ctrl L and link materials. Now let's switch this back to the shader editor and remove this principal BSDF by pressing delete. Then I'll press Shift A and search for a glass BSDF and plug that into the material output. Now I'm just going to reduce the IOR to something like 1.2. And in order to make this get good reflections, we're going to have to go down to the material properties and switch on ray trace transmission from this layer as well. Similarly, I also want these to be a little bit rounded so that they have some thickness. So I'm going to go to the object data properties, and I'm just going to go down to the geometry for each of these curves and just increase the extrude to something really, really small. So let's go with 0.005, and that looks good, but it's causing a shadow to be formed on the actual rock. I don't want it to form any shadow. So in order to actually prevent this from putting in a shadow on this, I'm actually going to increase this one's extrusion as well. So let's select it. So we'll go ahead and select this one and give it some extrusion. So let's go to the extrusion and just change that to 0.001 or 0.005. And that should give it enough thickness to not fall under the shadow of this anymore. And we can do the same for the head as well, 0.005. that also makes it more 3D. Similarly, for each of these, we're going to go ahead and change the bevel amount to 0.001. And let's do that for the other ones as well. And now to make this have some sort of texture on top of the actual glass, I'm going to go ahead and press Shift A and search for a noise texture. This noise texture can go through another bump node that can pass in as the normal to the glass BSDF. I'm going to take the factor, plug it into the height, and place the normal into the normal. Just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and increase the scale. And now you can see some actual texture coming into the glass, which I really like. However, it still appears to be extremely dark. So to brighten it up, I'm actually going to make a copy of every single one of these. I'm just going to press Shift D, Y, and then just pull it back by a tiny little bit so that they're present behind the glass. And then for each of those, I'm actually going to just duplicate the textured glass material by selecting this and pressing this little duplicate button so that it becomes its own material. And now let's go ahead and change this from a glass BSDF to an emission shader. So let's plug that into the surface, and I'll remove the bump and I'll plug this into the color. I'll press Shift A and search for a color ramp node, plug that in, bring the black in all the way, and change this white from a white to maybe a red. Let's ensure that the black is actually present. That goes in there. And let's just increase the strength and go into the camera view just like that. Now let's press GZ, GY, bring it in. And it's very hard for this to be seen in EV Next. So if anybody actually knows how to get this working accurately in EV Next, or like why I'm unable to see the light, please let me know, because I have the ray trace transmission on for the glass slab. For the actual curve at the back, which is emitting the light, I know I have to switch off ray traced transmission because only then will it actually interact, but it still refuses to interact when it's inside. Now, if I just move it behind, it should be visible through the glass, but it still is not. So I don't really know what the situation is, and I genuinely couldn't find anything online either. I have my ray tracing on, everything is present, but even with the best settings, does not seem to be working. So if anybody knows the solution to this, I'd really like to know, because you can clearly see that, yeah, there is reflections and refraction going on from this angle. We are able to get the light from the back to refract through this glass, but head on, it isn't working. Now, just in EV, in Blender version 4.1 and prior, this would have worked. Similarly, if we were to switch this from EV to cycles, we actually get it to work, and I think that looks absolutely beautiful. I think that is one of the most gorgeous glasses that I've seen. And yeah, this is how I would have made my logo if possible. And this is how I'm going to be rendering out just a single frame to be my logo. But obviously, I don't want this to be done in cycles. I need this to be done in EV. Let's just select all of these. Let's go ahead and select this, Control L, link materials. So all of them have that glowy material. I'll just get rid of the extrusion on these. So let's change that down to 0, this one as well down to 0, and instead I'm just going to give these bevel values of 0.001, and I'm going to do the same thing over here, a bevel value of 0.001. So now let's go ahead and look at what it looks like in cycles. I think that's a little too bright, so we would have to make changes to this, probably increase the scale of this all the way to something like 750. And just reduce this over there and back in our camera view. That looks great. Absolutely amazing, but let's go ahead and switch this over from cycles back to EV, because if we are to render out an animation, it has to be EV. In order to fake the background that I was getting from these, instead of actually placing in light at the back, I'll go ahead and delete those, and I'll just place some light from the bottom. So let's go ahead and press Shift A and search for an area lamp, press RX, maybe 170, and then just GZ it down. Let's scale it up on the X. Let's go ahead and increase the power up to like 1000. Maybe I can get rid of the previous light that we had. Let's just rotate this a little bit more on the X. That's looking good. And let's make this red. Under the influence, I'm actually going to reduce the diffuse influence all the way down to 0, as well as the glossy down to 0, so that it just hits the transmission. But evidently that does not seem to be working. If I increase the gloss, then it does work. I'm just going to increase the roughness of the dragon all the way to 1. I'm also going to reduce the darkness down something like that. And I think that looks good. Let's switch this off. That looks good. Let's go ahead and just increase the roughness on this glass by a bit. And that allows a lot more of the light to be dispersed within the actual glass. I'm going to have to do the same thing on top. So let's just switch on the background. Once again, Shift D, Z, move it up, rotate it on the X-axis until it's pointed on the glass on top. That looks great. So now the only thing left to do is add in some background. Let's just go to the world properties and change this all the way to a black. Let's press Shift A and search for a mesh plane. Let's press RX90 and then just GY to move it back a bit and then scale it up. Now for this, I'm going to add in a new material. I'm just going to go ahead and increase the roughness, increase the metallicness, and make this a lot darker. Now I'll press Shift A, search for a noise texture, plug that into the roughness. But of course, I'm going to press Shift A and search for a texture coordinate node, as well as a mapping node so that I can stretch this on the Z-axis. So let's press Shift A and search for a mapping node. Now remember, we've rotated the plane, so it's no longer going to be the Z-axis. It's actually going to be stretched on the Y-axis. So let's just go down to the scale on the Y and just pull it down to something like 0.4. Let's increase the squashing on the X, and let's increase the scale to like 15. Press Shift A, search for a color ramp node, plug that in here, ring in the black, ring in the white, and yeah, maybe these area lamps, I would just like to move them a bit lower. Let's just, what is happening? Okay, so the area lamps are just there. So let's take this area lamp, GZ, and lift it up. Let's take this area lamp, GZ, and bring it down. Let's go back into my camera view. Let's select the camera, go over to the camera properties, viewport display, pass par 2, all the way to 1. And yeah, that looks like that's about it. I feel like there's way too much red. So maybe these area lamps, I'll just go ahead and decrease the saturation here. Do the exact same for this area lamp, reduce the saturation, and that should do. So I guess that's about it for the tutorial. You can always animate this. I have videos on how you can get it to be looping and all of that as well. So over the last 10 months, I haven't been able to post regularly because I started off by joining a full-time job in my university as a project associate, where we worked for an electric vehicle company and developed a test bench for their electric hub motors. That started taking up a lot of my time, but simultaneously, I also started taking on a lot more freelance projects on Fiverr. Apart from doing all of that, I ended up realizing that the workshops that I'm conducting can earn me a lot more if I do have a master's degree. So I decided to complete my master's, and now I'm currently in the UK doing my master's of robotics. I finished an entire semester, and now my second semester has just begun. As much as I do have to focus on the course, I am going to start managing my time even better and posting videos as regularly as I can. So I will be exploring all of the features of Blender version 4.3 and going into the details of exactly how they work, why they work, and where else these same topics are being used, whether it's artificial intelligence or even robotics. There's a lot of correlation that I'm finding, and I can't wait to share that with all of you. So until all of those videos come out, both simple tutorials as well as deep dives into all the features Blender has to offer, keep creating and don't forget to stay creative.